The story kicks off with a massive swirl in the sky, where heavenly squads drop from the clouds to enforce order the hard way. Right in the middle of this mess is Wushin Molio, the terrifying demon lord, staring straight down the approaching danger. Pointing his weapon, some monkey warrior blames the demon for ruining Heaven's plans and announces it is time for him to permanently log out. The heavenly commander summons some flashy magic, flexing that millions of fighters have the city surrounded, and there is zero way out. Wushin just thinks about this so-called unavoidable fate, noticing how justice is really just a fancy excuse to pin the blame on someone. Showing zero mercy, the Divine Battalion marches forward after getting the green light to wipe out anyone they label as the bad guys. Without taking a single step back, the Demon Lord raises his hand, swearing to show the Heavenly Realm what his skills are really made of. An arrogant voice echoes across the battlefield, calling the demon out for having the audacity to actually fight back. Right after that, a massive golden hand drops from the sky, covering the whole area in this blinding, suffocating light. The impact sets off an epic crash, completely leveling the entire territory. All that is left is a gigantic, empty crater wrapped in fog. The Sky Monarch celebrates, fully believing Wushin's cultivations is wrecked and his soul has been completely erased. But hold up, a tiny speck of black fire packed with energy quietly falls down. 3 days later, this little flame lands in the White Tiger Mountains, touching down right at the White Bone Cave. Caught off guard, a guy wakes up totally spooked on a rocky bed, holding his head as a massive wave of memories hits him. Xiao, still super confused, focuses his thoughts trying to process what in the world is going on. The dude realizes he has already failed to survive this exact storyline 9 times, deciding that this time he needs a totally flawless game plan. Flashing back to his past lives, he lists the crazy strong monarchs and divine beings he used to be, wrapping up with boss Wushin Molio, who also met his end. Curious about his current build, he lifts one hand to check out what kind of character he rolled in this spawn. A system interface pops up right in front of him, exposing that right now, he is nothing but a low-tier minion in the White Bone faction. Groaning about his luck, Baishio admits he respawned as literally the weakest NPC in the entire dimension. Stepping outside the cave, he chills out after remembering that even though his body is built like wet paper, his soul still packs the colossal energy of the Demon Lord. Scoping out the peaks, he spots the White Tiger Mountains as a spot loaded with spiritual energy, literally the perfect grinding spot to level up. He figures out that the main quest hasn't even started yet, and the White Bone boss only has a small handful of disciples around here. Knowing that super sweaty players will soon rush the area wiping out rivals, he decides he needs a fast track way to boost his stats. A little further up, a trio of disciples is gossiping about Baishio's recent beatdown, roasting him over his ribs that almost snapped. One of the guys glazes the boss's kindness and starts hyping up how the local power scaling system works. The talent ranking is brutal, sorting cultivators into trash, basic, chosen prodigy, and heavenly build. The second they spot Baishio rolling up, the squad leader mocks him, saying with such garbage stats, he is never going to make it anywhere. They disrespect him with zero chill, calling the MSC utterly useless right to his face. The bully keeps yapping, asking how those cracked bones are feeling and telling the noob to think twice before catching more hands. Without losing his cool, Baishio just tells the dude to get lost and take his hands off him. In the blink of an eye, a dark aura bursts from the guy's body, yeeting all 3 bullies far away. Thanks to the sheer force of the hit, the trolls hit the dirt, begging for mercy while absolutely shaking in their boots. As the guy just keeps walking, the defeated goons cannot fathom how a basic minion can flex such a suffocating aura. Knowing full well his soul still commands the respect of an absolute boss, he keeps stepping with confidence. The path leads him straight to the fancy crib of the White Bone boss. Chilling outside, he asks for clearance to go in and chat about some important leveling up business. A woman's voice echoes from the inside, giving him the green light, and he walks through the gates. The White Bone boss asks why he is showing up after going ghost for so long. Kneeling in a formal stance, the disciple claims her tutorials just aren't cutting it and asks for a boost to break his level cap. Super triggered by the request, the master asks who he thinks he is talking to her like that. Without missing a beat, the guy claps back saying she is the reason he is hard stuck, since she is hoarding all the loot for herself. Furious, the lady delivers a heavy slap, making it crystal clear she is fresh out of patience. Standing up in a rage, she declares his stats are trash, and that his sheer audacity to blame her is going to cost him. Flexing her mystic power, the boss warns she is about to hand the edgy disciple an unforgettable lesson. But the guy's eyes just flash with this mysterious glint. With a lightning-fast move, he catches the master's wrist, completely shutting down her attack. Pulling her in close, he states they have zero time to waste, and she is going to help him power level right this second. The boss is totally stunned, glitching out over how her higher tier power is being completely nerfed by a low-level nobody. Xiao suggests a dual cultivation session on the spot, promising it is going to be a win-win for both of them. The guy applies the pressure, arguing that sharing this energy will finally help her rank up and fix her bottleneck. Struggling to break free, the boss warns she is going to hit him with a brutal penalty if he doesn't back off. Totally ignoring her red flags, he presses forward and pins her in a corner of the room. Fully controlling the vibe, the guy sarcastically apologizes for the disrespect. Fighting against the heavy pressure, the master orders the bold dude to let her go immediately. Finding it hilarious, the boy tells her to keep complaining, since she is about to find out who is really running the server. In a final desperate move, the boss bursts with aggressive energy, calling the guy a total creep. However, he cancels her magic instantly, leaving her shook by the sheer force of his hidden spirit. Bai Aisho notices his base stats are gone, but the absolute gigachid energy of his past life's soul is more than enough to keep her in check. The guy announces it doesn't matter who he is, asking if she is down for a pact using an old-school method for them to level up together. Super suspicious about the offer, the woman questions why she should even trust his word. Spitting facts, he points out she is hard, stuck and surrounded by enemies, with literally zero endgame strategy. The master thinks about the heat coming from rival guilds and her lack of top-tier skills to deal with the drama. Finally caving in, she warns that if this is a scam, the guy is going to face some serious payback. She locks in the deal, agreeing to join the power farming session. The energy vibes start flowing between them through this flashy magic sigil. The power surges through the boss intensely, demanding a ton of physical stamina on her end. Jaisho just coaches his higher up to tank the process while the energy balances out. The effect becomes manageable and super refreshing, letting her feel her physical level caps breaking in epic fashion. She gets hit with a wave of relief, proving the strategy was actually legit. A little while later, the guy chills out, looking fully restored with his health maxed out. Exhausted and breathing heavy, the boss suggests they pause the grind session right there. Totally shocking the master, he hits decline on stopping, letting her know she has to endure the grind just a bit longer. Freaked out by his relentless stamina, she backs up, shook by his absolute lack of chill. Baisho keeps pushing the strategy, making the master clench her fists, totally confused by his refusal to log off. Peeping the heavy energy flow, the boy jokes he didn't know she was so into the grind, declaring the start of round 8. Outside the mansion, a massive red storm of spiritual energy starts brewing in the sky. The disciples are mind-blown seeing all that energy funneling into the boss's cave, guessing she finally hit a new rank. At the same time, inside the spot, a purple flame pops up flickering brightly in the guy's palm. The master notices her progress and, totally drained, wonders to herself if she actually just hit the Demon King tier. On his end, the guy checks his interface and confirms he evolved from a basic minion straight to a demon general, thanks to the wild success of their session. Stretching out, he hypes up the potential of the master's divine build, which was responsible for letting him skip 3 whole tiers in just one night. The guy grabs one of the boss's outfits and mentions how good the aesthetic smells. Startled, the woman tries to cover up and asks what he plans to do with her fit, to which Baishio just replies it is a bit of a collector's habit. Deep down, the master vows that at some point she will definitely cancel this guy for the absolute disrespect. Just waving his hand, he lets her know he is fully aware of what she is plotting. Right after, mystic chains of purple power lock down the boss's body, completely freezing her controls. Spooked by the stun lock, the boss demands to know what he did, realizing her divine spirit got totally sealed. Looking down at her like an absolute boss, Baijio clarifies he stamped his ultimate seal on her soul, dropping the rule that from now on, she belongs to his faction, no matter what. Furious at the disciple's sheer nerve, she rages over the fact he straight up installed an obedience tag on her character. Skipping the argument, the boy triggers the magic through his dark power, causing the woman instant grief from the seal. The guy makes it clear that even with her boss title, she is banned from leaving the cave without a hall pass, warning that keeping secrets will lead to her soul getting permanently deleted. Worn out from the fatigue and pain, the master taps out and asks what his real endgame is. The MC leans in and explains the dual cultivation was just the tutorial, pointing out that if she stays loyal, so they can farm wins together, it will be all good, but any thought of betraying him will cost her her entire playthrough. Completely dominated, the boss bows her head and confirms she got the memo. Right before heading out, Baishio informs her she is now required to call him master, joking that hubby works too. Outside the crib, the students notice that somebody is finally leaving the boss's room. One of the disciples is mind-blown, realizing it is the low-tier minion, while another instantly rejects the idea that their higher-up would ever simp for an absolute nobody. The guy keeps walking, remembering he stashed a rare item in this zone during a previous playthrough, and grabbing it will give him another massive stat boost. From a distance, one of the bullies is fuming after confirming the minion actually had the guts to step into the master's room, swearing to log him out for good. A few hours later, walking through the dark woods, the guy strategizes his next moves to quickly cancel the disasters coming his way. The MC figures the only way to catch a win is to stop playing like a basic NPC and start acting like the server admin, deciding he is going to have to personally ruin that squad of mythical heroes. Right behind his back, the bully keeps stalking quietly, super suspicious that the noob is plotting something sketchy in the back peaks. The salty stalker cannot stand that the lady gave attention to the absolute trash tier guy, determined to catch him slipping to expose him to the boss. In that exact moment, Baishio's eyes glow as he instantly clocks that someone is tailing him. Without even glancing back, he figures the dude has been creeping since the cave, remembering the original owner of this body took major losses from that jealous hater. A quick flashback hits, showing the bully Curb stomping the defenseless minion back in the day, mocking him and swearing to feed him to the wild hounds the next morning. Snapping back to the present, the MC flashes a wicked smirk and decides to let the stalker tag along just to find the perfect moment to end his run permanently. Reaching the waypoint, the boy fakes being hyped and loudly celebrates that the premium loot is super close and nobody is going to snatch it. Hiding in the dark, the stalker takes the bait, totally buying the relic story and plotting a heist to score major brownie points with the boss. In his daydreaming, he even fantasizes about the white-boned boss giving him some elite intimate rewards for handling the situation like a pro. The big guy starts drooling and blushing, heavily imagining that sweet validation from the master. Meanwhile, Baishio steps on a mystic emblem on the ground, hyped to see that the security seal he set up in his past life is still untouched. Using a quick cheat code, he drops the force wall, easily unlocking the secret entrance. Mlone, the tracker, cannot process how he never noticed that entrance, but decides to let the kid do all the heavy lifting so he can just jack the loot after. Inside the hidden vault, the guy finds the room perfectly preserved, remembering the firewall magic would straight up delete any hacker who didn't have his exact energy signature. The boy confirms that the gear he casually stashed away eras ago is now the ultimate carry for his current playthrough. Instantly, his system interface starts speed, looting all the chests and shiny treasures in the vault. Holding the glowing purple gold gourd, the guy verifies that the ultra-rare drop from his previous run is still there, and is going to be incredibly clutch. The rewards keep stacking up, and the interface drops a notification about hoarding hundreds of mystic items in literally a fraction of a second. The system flags a heavily ruffled dress among the looted gear and asks in a super troll tone if that piece also matches the user's vibe. Slightly embarrassed, the guy defends himself, claiming he is just a student, telling the system to quit yapping and just toss the fit in the inventory. With his inventory maxed out, he casually strolls back into the moonlit woods. The second he steps out, the stalker's massive club comes crashing down brutally toward his head, demanding he hand over the loot right then and there. The MC side steps the sneak attack with zero effort, leaving the attacker shook by how insanely fast he is. The shock completely stuns the big dude, who just cannot process how a basic minion dodged his ultimate strike. Keeping a totally chill face, Baishio tilts his head and asks if the attacker actually thought his painfully obvious stalking went unnoticed. The bully stumbles backward, tripping over his words after realizing he got baited, but tries to mask his panic by talking the noob's skills. Trying to snatch back the advantage, the huge guy swings again, lifting his weapon and swearing to let the kid live if he drops the loot. Without even blinking, the guy just raises 2 fingers, charging up a dark energy that absolutely terrifies the attacker mid-jump. A massive beam of red power blasts dead center into the enemy's chest, whose eyes pop out in pure disbelief that he is getting clapped by someone with such trash tier rank. The impact drops a colossal boom, wiping the ground clean and sending debris flying all over the forest. Standing in the dust cloud without a single scratch, the guy coldly points out that your power level means literally nothing if you have the soul of an absolute king. Far away, safe in the mansion, the white bone boss stretches out looking exhausted, opting to catch some fresh air to recover from the daily grind. Trying to take a walk, her legs just give out, leading to a super awkward faceplant on the floor. Furious at her own nerf, she rubs her aching lower back and curses the pain, terrified her reputation will be ruined if this gets leaked. Blushing super hard, she internally questions how the kid logs out of their session looking totally refreshed, while she is left on the verge of complete burnout. Suddenly, her room door flies wide open, completely cutting off the master's train of thought. By she strolls in dripping with sarcasm, asking if sitting on the floor is some brand new type of mystic meditation. The master angrily looks away and cooks up a lie that she was just enjoying the cool floor tiles, trying to keep her dignity intact. Taking absolutely zero nonsense, the guy grabs the woman's wrist tight, figuring last night's punishment just wasn't enough. The guy pulls her in again, ignoring the boss's angry complaining, promising that round 2 is going to be way more profitable for both of them. Shocking the boss, the MC summons the ancient purple divine skeleton, sparking the master's extreme curiosity about where he scored such an ultra-rare drop. Keeping it straight, the boy suggests the woman help him upgrade the relic all night long, offering a slight buff to her stats in return, locking in the deal. The guy warns that playing nice and submitting will unlock unlimited perks. The co-op starts and the interface instantly begins speed, tracking the artifact's upgrade percentage while their energies sync up perfectly. After one solid hour of intense dual farming in total privacy, footsteps start echoing outside the main mansion. The faction's number 2 disciple steps up respectfully to the door, claiming he came to pay his respects for the boss finishing her retreat. Inside the room, the lady pauses the grind, panting heavily, absolutely terrified after recognizing her disciple's voice at the worst possible time. Totally ignoring the boss's panic, Bai Xiao tells her he is not hitting pause and his only concern is the dude outside catching the audio. Mocking the whole setup, the boy swears the risk of getting caught just makes the game better and orders his partner to focus on the process. Out in the hall, the disciple hears some muffled sounds and gets closer to the door, getting suspicious that his master's cultivation hit a glitch. Stressed by the lack of response, the dude yells for the boss, asking if everything is all good. Hitting the 30% mark, the guy whispers, teasing the woman by asking if she wouldn't rather invite her student inside. Pushing the issue, the subordinate asks if the session failed and offers to bust in and rescue her. Terrified, the master quickly covers her mouth and crafts a lie that she's just breaking through an energy wall, ordering the guy to back off. Right then, the woman accidentally lets out a loud gasp, since the energy flow keeps draining her stamina bar hard. The big dude is super suspicious about the rejection, remembering the boss usually requests his bodyguard services for events like this. Even though he thinks the whole vibe is weird, the guy takes the order and says he received the message loud and clear. Walking away from the room, the dude reflects that sometimes even an untouchable top-tier player like her has rough patches. After that, the subordinate gives a bow and starts walking in the opposite direction. Happy with the acting, Bai Xiao points out that the boss's shaky tone definitely made the student imagine some wild stuff. Reaching the balcony, the dude shakes his head to clear out the totally inappropriate fantasies about the boss, calling himself crazy. Back in the room, the white bone boss gasps for air, borderline crashing while the upgrade bar passes 50%. The boy notes the session is basically just starting and the relic only hit the halfway mark, telling her they need to keep pushing hard. The next morning, the master sits in her tiger pelt gaming chair, while the guy stands right next to her, facing all the minions. The massive crowd bows on the floor of the main hall, paying respect in unison to the territory's commander. Rocking a serious face, the boss tells everyone to chill out and announces the server meeting has 2 main updates. Skipping the filler, the master drops the patch notes that starting right now, the noob is going to admin all territory business as her proxy. The whole room starts buzzing, since the guild members are absolutely mind-blown that a low-rank fighter just got promoted to head mod. That same salty brute from the woods is seething with pure rage hearing the announcement, deciding he has to find a way to permanently ban the kid. Faking being cool with it, the number 2 disciple steps up and congratulates the boy, pretending to respect his skills. Bai Xiao just stares at the kiss, up without saying a word, instantly spotting the massive cap hidden in that gesture. Switching topics, the veteran asks the boss about their bro going missing in the peaks last night. The master gives the disciple a side eye, and the guy shamelessly admits he took the dude out just because he was totally useless. Hiding her shock, the boss announces loudly that she will launch an investigation and tells the veteran to calm down. Taking advantage of the drama, the veteran claims he is hard, stuck on his spiritual grind, and asks for permission to flex his combat moves right there in the hall. Lunging comfortably in her seat, the master sees no issue with the request and gives him the green light, totally clueless about his real agenda. The dude takes the opening and suggests using the newly promoted admin as a sparring partner to test the kid's stats. Flexing purple energy from his palms, the veteran celebrates the chance to wreck his rival, who in turn accepts the one-on-one super casually. Instantly, the attacker rushes in at crazy speed, throwing a heavy punch aimed right at the kid's face. Bai Xiao just leans his torso to the side and dodges the aggro, making the crowd completely lose it over his insane ping. Trying to dominate the fight, the giant keeps spamming heavy attacks all over the room, hitting literally nothing but air every single time. Sweating bullets because of all the misses, the attacker hears the MC mock him. joking that his attack almost got dust on his outfit. Furious from getting styled on, the fighter charges his ultimate and screams that he grinded that exclusive move for 3 straight years. Keeping perfectly calm, the young admin pulls an aerial flip and lets him know he has also been tweaking his own signature move. Exploiting the opponent's garbage defense, the MC lands a ruthless kick directly to the dude's family jewels. The sheer violence of the critical hit makes the guy's eyes bug out so hard they almost pop, showing a level of pain that breaks the scale. Dropped on the carpet rolling in agony, the loser clutches his lower half whining, while the winner lands without a single scratch. Trolling the guy's pain, the MC advises the older fighter to go back to the tutorial, since he just got utterly clapped by a 0-rep noob. Flashing a pure killer glare, the MC states that the master belongs to his faction and swears to permanently ruin the dude if he tries to start drama again. Trying to cap the chaos, the lady calls game over and shuts down the match, ordering the loser to log off and go meditate. Tanking the massive hit to his ego, the disciple bows down, secretly promising to pay back that epic humiliation in front of the whole server. Without even letting the dust settle, a guard rushes the room in a full panic to warn everyone that a VIP messenger from the main territory just spawned in. A duo of guards bows in front of the throne and drops the news that the Supreme Monarch ordered attacks of 10 high stat fighters for their castle. The boss gulps nervously at the demand, fully aware that this majesty uses sketchy hacks to siphon power from top-tier players. Scanning the situation from a distance, Bai Xiao realizes the guild pays these insane taxes every single year just to avoid getting entirely wiped out. Out of nowhere, a fox-eared girl walks into the room, hyping up the cave boss's glowing new look. Strutting through the room with mad boss energy, the outsider grabs everyone's attention thanks to her extremely intimidating vibe. Tired of the fake pleasantries, the master tells the intruder to get straight to the point, getting hit with the response that the hostages need to be transferred ASAP. The weird request makes the master super suspicious, asking why they are specifically demanding only high-level males for this drop. Zero shame, the envoy breaks it down, saying her queen's charm spell requires a massive amount of male vital energy to keep from glitching out. Disgusted by the whole toxic setup, the cave owner crosses her arms and asks what kind of penalty they would get if she just hit decline. Going full troll mode, the fox girl warns that their defensive shield against rival factions would be instantly deactivated. Clenching her fists hard, the master mutters that she is in a super delicate grinding phase and shipping off that many fighters would totally tank her strategy. Suddenly grabbing the microphone, Bai Xiao flat outstates the demand will be met in 3 days, leaving the whole hall completely shook. Taking his word for it, the spokesperson looks pleased with the submission and spin as around to bounce and report the update. Once the initial shock wears off, the boss shoots a massive death glare at the boy, asking how he had the audacity to make a macro play like that. Jumping on the perfect opening, the oldest disciple hops into the beef, calling the newly promoted guy a toxic ribble. Raising her voice, the master defends the MC, stating his rank is literal admin, and there is zero chance he is getting shipped off as a slave. The kiss up pushes his shatty logic, arguing that sending a top-tier mod would prove their absolute loyalty to the Alliance. Cutting off the argument, the MC deadpans that he will just solo run into enemy territory, no escort needed. The rest of the squad starts whispering, commenting that the new admin has completely lost the plot by walking straight into a trap. Grabbing the boy's arm in a panic, the boss tries to warn him about the lethal aggro, but the MC does not flinch and swears he will respond safe and sound. Packed with unholy ideas, the MC mentally plots that he will make the fox girl beg for mercy in her room, scheming up exactly what kind of penalty he will drop on her. Hyped about sending his rival to the lobby, the beefy dude masks his joy by bowing and swearing to pack the gear for the fatal quest. Throwing an intimidating glance over his shoulder, Bai Xiao advises the big guy not to celebrate early, since payback is definitely happening on the return trip. Exhausted by all this diplomatic drama, the lady closes the ticket, massaging her temples and dismissing the lobby. Walking through the far halls, the veteran disciple mutters that he shouldn't rely on random luck and decides to set up an ambush so the kid gets wiped off the map in transit. The days speedrun to the deadline, cutting to the ridiculously aesthetic bedroom of the neighboring mountain queen. Lounging comfortably on her bed, the master whispers excitedly that she is super close to hitting her endgame goal. Near the bed on the freezing floor, a duo of guys looking like total skeletons shake in terror while begging to survive. Ignoring their crying, the boss aims her glowing palm and sweetly promises she is just going to siphon a tiny bit of energy. Helpless to fight back, one of the hostages gets his health violently drained from his chest, screaming in pain as he drops to the floor. Super annoyed by the scene, the queen huffs and complains that the hostage had zero stamina, and the latest drops are looking more trash by the minute. Right then, a staff member logs in to report that the full batch of hostages has arrived, getting the quest to escort the whole squad straight to the royal suite. Inside the massive lounge, a few guys wait for the boss's verdict, totally clueless about the bad ending waiting for them. Instantly, the host confirms the entry of the 10 envoys from the White Bone Cave, right as the MC walks in, flexing an insane amount of confidence. The Fox Girl's minion is totally stunned, shaking as she asks if he really pulled up solo for the tribute drop. Keeping his unbreakable posture, Bai Xiao informs her that his boss vouched for his top-tier stats, and his kit easily replaces 10 standard fighters. Furious at the disrespect, the Sovereign asks if the rival boss seriously just sent one minion, if this is all some massive troll move. Trying to chill the Majesty out, the assistant advises focusing on the premium quality, pointing out the kid's bulky stats and convincing the boss to run a stat check first. During the visual scan, the MC checks out the Fox Girl's aesthetics and mentally plans that it would be super interesting to add her to his private inventory. In his greedy thoughts, the kid already pictures the perfect setup with his current boss and this newly unlocked queen catering to him at the same time like an absolute utopia. But the daydream gets cut off suddenly by the Majesty, who aggressively demands to know why he is zoning out, ordering an explanation. Snapping right back to reality, the kid focuses up and calmly asks what exactly she wants to hear. Flexing pure arrogance, the woman clarifies she usually keeps the best, looking ones around as side pieces so she can slowly leech their vital energy. To show off the fate of the trash drops, the queen grabs and tosses one of the basic hostages through the air with zero effort. Boosting the panic in the room to max, she ruthlessly announces that weak minions get turned straight into stew ingredients. Scanning the kid from an inch away, the boss decides the current lobby is garbage and chooses to hands-on test what this edgy noob is packing. With a speed, blitz move, the Sovereign taps her glowing finger right on the boy's chest to run a check on his mana pool. Instantly, an overwhelming dark force bursts from Bai Xiao's body, completely stunning the queen, who cannot compute how she just got dominated by such a busted power level. Trying to mask her fear, the boss steps back, branding the kid as a zero-mana dud and complaining that the rival faction delivered a bugged offering to scam her. Hearing that rushed conclusion, the MC makes a dumbfounded face, utterly annoyed she misread his Titan tier strength as total garbage. Rocking a wicked smirk, the boy sarcastically lets her know that Her Majesty's stat-checking tech is completely broken. Giving her zero time to reply, the kid yanks the boss by the arm and drops a heavy kiss on her, promising that this is how true power should actually be felt. Totally shocked, the Sovereign turns bright red and tries to squirm out of the heavy grip, while the intimacy just keeps ramping up. Turning up the heat, the kid remembers grinding this specific Riz skill in past playthroughs, claiming that even the most stubborn non-playable characters couldn't resist. Suddenly, the Majesty's eyes go wide, realizing things went totally off the rails, noticing that instead of leeching his energy, her own mana is the one getting drained. The Mystic Impact completely flips the script, dropping a debuff on the boss's legs and making her knees buckle against the MC's unblockable strategy. Bai Xiao suggests she enjoy the warm up right now, promising they'll have plenty of time to goof around once they enter the cave. Shell, shocked by the scene, the other prisoners are totally convinced the queen is a goner just for touching him. Panic sets in among the guys, who are terrified they'll be put on ice right alongside Her Majesty if she can't handle that insane power level. Right on cue, a furious fox guard crashes the party, sword in hand, totally going off about the sheer disrespect shown to her leader. Without breaking a sweat, our boy turns his head and totally roasts the girl's weak attempt at an attack. With just a simple flick of his finger, he shoots a purple energy beam straight at the party crasher. The impact hits so hard that the guard's blade shatters into a million pieces on the spot. Absolutely freaking out over her wrecked weapon, the minion stammers, crying out for her queen. Trying to play off the super awkward vibe, the panting fox announces she'll handle the interrogation of this cocky servant herself. The sidekick doesn't even question it, just bowing to show she got the memo. Getting her act together a bit, Her Majesty orders everyone to bounce from the room immediately. Finding the whole thing hilarious, our MC waves at the prisoners, giving them the most sarcastic goodbye ever. The guys let out a huge sigh of relief as they dip, figuring the new guy just saved everyone's bacon by drawing the boss's aggro. Shooting the kid a totally piercing glare, the boss warns the guards that nobody leaves, since she's dealing with this little problem first. The second the doors shut, she promises to give the guy a seriously bad time for having the nerve to disrespect her like that. The vibe outside the Grand Palace stays completely silent, totally masking the heavy tension going down inside. Back in the bedroom, Her Majesty slowly paces and demands to know the guy's real deal, highly doubting the rival faction would send someone this OP for no reason. Never losing his cool, Baishio smoothly replies that in this playthrough, he's just a humble servant of the Lady of White Bones. Totally ignoring his answer, the woman activates her mystic charm skill, guaranteeing she'll make him spill the tea whether he wants to or not. But the kid just stands there, not showing even a hint of being affected by the spell. Totally shook that her magic flopped, the leader steps up, asking what kind of god, tier hacks he's running. Sporting a cheeky smirk, our boy clowns her, asking if that was seriously an attempt to magically riz him up. The fox totally blue screens, since her skill should mind control even top-tier bosses, making it impossible for a random noob to resist. Milking her shock, the MC drops the lore that he might be nerfed today, but back in the day, he was a supreme being who's literally seen it all. Pure dread takes over the boss's face as she recognizes the gamertag of the legendary demon who used to terrorize the entire server. He then totally corners her on the bed, letting her know her tricks are basic and he's had way higher tier partners in past metas. To show who's actually carrying this lobby, the kid summons one of his most rare mystic drops straight from his inventory. Holding the golden relic, he flexes with a satisfied look, remembering this classic item he stashed away is about to come in clutch. The item instantly shoots out a magic rope, and he totally trolls her, asking if she still wants to run the interrogation or if she'd rather switch seats. Giving her 0 reaction time, the mystic ropes auto, target and wrap around her majesty, leaving her completely pinned to the bed. Checking out his handiwork, our boy chuckles, joking that his tying skills are a little rusty from being AFK for so long. Big mad over the humiliation, her majesty struggles against the binds, screaming at the little thief to let her go right now. Getting super close to her face, the guy tells her to chill, saying he just wants to team up, but she snaps back about how insane it is to negotiate while tied up. He slides a finger across her abs, promising to carry her to max level permanently if she just agrees to follow his lead. The fox spits straight venom, swearing that a high-tier prodigy like her would never become the pet of some random NPC. Not taking it personally at all, the MC makes it crystal clear she should treat this carry offer as a literal blessing from RN Jesus. One quick precision tap from the kid, the boss lets out a loud gasp, arching her back, totally caught off guard. Seizing the opening, he whispers in her ear that he's got premium intel on where her clan's legendary sealed ancestor is hiding. The lore drop hits the woman like a truck, making her freak out and ask how he could possibly know that ancient server secret. Hovering over her, Baishio swears he knows way more, dropping the reality check that soloing that rescue mission is impossible for her, but with his buff, it's an easy win. He then gently pets her tail, pitching a plan to raid the celestial realm together and save her bloodline, in exchange for total loyalty. Turning tomato red and super sensitive to the critical hit on her weak spot, the leader practically begs him with a shaky voice to stop. Finding her reaction straight up adorable, the guy teases that since he found such a major weak point, he's got to give it way more attention. Showing 0 mercy, he keeps spamming the tail strat, making Her Majesty plead for him to quit the tease. The sensory overload completely deletes the boss's stubbornness. She just lets out soft whimpers, totally tapping out and out of stamina to fight back. With her submission locked in, the system HUD pops up, notifying that their dual cultivation is leveling up at an insane speed. Beaten by sheer exhaustion and the mystic vibe, the fox finally caves, accepting him as her undisputed main boss from here on out. The kid flexes a scarlet seal on his fingers, letting her know he's branding her soul with it to make sure she never rage quits. Outside, the whole palace is practically glowing with the crazy energy coming from the flawless completion of their spirit leveling ritual. The guard who got kicked out stands by the door looking super proud, fully believing her boss just leached the noob's XP to rank up. Totally oblivious to the mix, up outside, the MC gets a pop-up saying the obedience seal was successfully planted and he just looted her charm skill for himself. Hyped about the new skill drop, Bai Xiao figures it's going to be way easier to recruit future allies without having to try hard and use brute force every time. Suddenly, an ancient flashback hits the guy's brain, showing a top-tier celestial entity daring a monkey warrior to escape his hand. In the vision, the legendary Monkey King laughs at the ridiculous challenge, super confident that Tiny Hitbox could never trap him. Not wasting a single frame, the warrior summons his Mystic Cloud and speedruns away from the challenge at a crazy velocity. After traveling across the map, the monkey runs into 5 giant pillars, totally believing he just hit the world border. Just to prove he made it and win the bet, he decides to spray his tag on the sacred spot. Though with lightning speed, the warrior proudly flexes his flashy title right onto the massive structure. Laughing at his own troll move, the Monkey King turns around to head back and collect his promised loot. Zooming through the sky, he pre-celebrates, basically taking over the whole celestial server. As soon as he lands, the cocky warrior demands the golden entity stick to the agreement and make the old emperor pack his bags. However, the entity just raises his massive hand, exposing the exact same message written right on one of his giant fingers. The monkey totally panics in despair, not getting how that insane speedrun amounted to literal zero progress. With a chill voice, the divine figure explains he never even left the palm of his hand, winding up to totally smash him right after. Refusing to hold the L, the warrior whips out his staff and accuses the entity of using cheap illusion hacks, demanding a fair one-on-one. Ignoring the salt, the divine hand drops from the sky like an unstoppable force of nature to hand out the ultimate ban. The deity sentences the monkey for all the server lag he caused, decreeing his timeout will last for centuries until some monk finally unbans him. Crushed under the weight of the Five Elements mountain, the once great king screams in pure rage at the totally busted sentence he got hit with. Snapping back to the present, Bai Xiao analyzes the details of that exact memory projected right on his UD. Driven by the urge to mess with the game lore, the guy asks his system to calculate the exact ban duration of that stubborn warrior. Instantly, the screen shows the lock-up has been going for nearly 500 whole years, with just a mere 2 months left until his supposed unbanning. The MC's eyes go wide, realizing the legendary monk is dropping in soon, and he desperately needs to grind his stats if he wants to crash that event. A savage smirk pops up on the kid's face as he remembers getting eliminated by that exact monkey in past playthroughs, vowing to pull the ultimate reverse card this time around. Ignoring all the hazard warnings from his virtual assistant, he just closes his eyes and locks in entirely on his payback strat. Dead set on making the rules, Bai Xiao swears he's gonna steal the god's main chess piece, hard blocking the celestial heroes from catching another win. Overpowered by the guy's insane stats, Her Majesty just lets out a muffled gasp. The magic's impact leaves her totally stunned, locked and yielding. Holding the woman firmly, Bai Xiao apologizes for going a bit too try-hard. He jokes around, asking if he didn't accidentally suffocate his new teammate during that sweaty grind session. Queen Meiniang appreciates the check. In rocking a totally submissive vibe, she promises that getting to serve her master from here on out is a massive flex. Clinging to the guy, the fox admits she actually really vibed with the mystic experience, with a super needy tone. She begs to get way more of that energy buff next time. The palace floor is covered in marks from the hardcore spirit farming they just pulled off. The energy output was so cracked that the actual floorboards caved under the pressure. Meanwhile, the Lady of White Bones wakes up completely shook in her faraway room. The boss notices the massive energy spike through their ping and can't believe the kid is acting up again. Oblivious to her rival's raging, Meiniang hugs the guy in this cute, possessive way. The fox wonders why the other leader is such a buzzkill, throwing a whole tantrum over nothing. Blasting her voice through the link, the Bone Boss rants that he promised not to bring the interloper into the VIP room. Chill as ever, RMC counters, saying he literally never agreed to those terms of service. Flexing maximum sass, the Fox boss tells her rival to log off and accept the new meta. She declares that the entire Western Zone is now entirely under their master's control. Flashing back to 3 days earlier, the cave students watch the guy casually strolling through the courtyard. The squad is totally mind blown that he survived and didn't end up as demon snacks. Radiating pure confidence, the young admin announces that the server rules have changed. He mandates that from now on, both the East and West wings answer only to him. Disgusted by the sheer audacity, one of the guards goes off, saying this demand is pure cap. She fiercely defends that Her Majesty is the one and only supreme admin of the whole region. To everyone's absolute shock, Meiniang spawns right next to the kid and backs up every word without skipping a beat. The leader warns that anyone who dares defy the guy's orders will get instantly booted. With the beef settled in the enemy base, the duo starts the trek back to home base. The fox calls out to the MC super affectionately, totally ready to tag along. Pulling up to the cave, they run straight into the Lady of White Bones, who is boiling with jealousy. Acting petty, the newcomer tells her rival to stop gatekeeping, promising she'll only visit for like 2 tiny hours a day. Absolutely livid at the disrespect, the Bone Leader spams her blue magic across the hall. She calls the fox a total pick-me and swears to teach her an unforgettable lesson right then and there. Before the attack animation can even finish, the guy throws up his arm with insane speed. He firmly grabs the woman's wrist, hard canceling the aggro magic right on startup. Keeping the situation totally under control, the young guy points out they're all co-op teammates now. He tells them to drop the toxic behavior and stop trying to settle everything with PvP. Crossing her arms and looking super salty, the cave owner grumbles that she only pulled aggro because she got taunted first. She instantly regrets inviting the prisoner into her lobby. Flexing a slightly hurt look, the boss admits she had way different expectations for their squad dynamic. In a super quiet voice, she confesses she thought she'd be the only VIP around here. Preying on her rival's weak moment, Maniang goes back to trolling with a wicked smirk. The boss comments that all this jealousy just proves the other leader has a massive skill issue. Out of patience for any more trash talk, the white-haired woman loses her absolute last drop of chill. She lets out a furious yell, demanding the party crasher shut her mouth once and for all. Seeing that this beef wasn't ending anytime soon, Bai Shio shoves them both straight onto the bed at the same time. Taking the squad leader role, he orders them both to mute their mics and start behaving. The overpowered warriors land on the sheets completely stunned by the sudden alpha move. Lacking the stamina to counter the guy, they just settle down and keep it low-key. Taking in the scene, the kid thinks about the spirit relic he only got halfway through crafting earlier. He figures that draining all that power with a triple a boost will make his stats skyrocket to an absurd tier. Itching to resume the grind, the fox shuffles on the bed with the biggest puppy, dog eyes. She begs him not to just focus on her rival, claiming she literally can't handle waiting any longer. Ditching his top, our MC flashes a smile that says he's up to no good. He praises his teammate's eager attitude and decides he's going to start the sweaty grind session right with her. Grabbing the woman, the guy gives a heads up that this training arc is going to be ultra hardcore to milk every last drop of XP. He swears nobody is leaving that room until they completely break the level cap. With a dark gleam in his eyes, the kid stares down his partner super closely, totally loving her hustle. He calls her a loot goblin, amused by how desperately she's begging for a power up. Meanwhile, the cave boss tries to tank the massive magic load circulating the room. Stun locked by the kid's strat, she lets out soft sighs from all the effort it takes. Spotting the other leader squirming in the corner, the guy turns his head, practically dripping with irony. He calls Bei Jingjing by her gamertag and asks what she's even trying to pull off over there solo. Sweating bullets and blushing hard, the woman completely drops her warrior ego. She yells out that she wants in on the XP farm too, asking if he's finally happy with her spilling the beans. Satisfied that they've both tapped out, the guy explains that running a 3-player party boosts the farming efficiency like crazy. He suggests they coordinate without throwing hands, syncing up their energy flow together. Taking point, the fox pins her rival to the mattress, claiming the top spot, totally wiped out. The bone lady just hits her with a grumpy mumble of agreement. Set up in a prime tactical spot, the kid praises the epic view of the two of them actually using teamwork. Hyped about the squad's synergy, he announces he's booting up the intensive grind. Over in the spirit realm, their perfect sync manifests as this massive, flashy golden tower. The energy groups up, showing that both teammates have their mental shields totally prepped. This mystic setup, the MC's avatar equips a glowing energy sword, ready to shatter their firewalls. He summons his spirit weapon like a total try-hard. With a quick dash, the little avatar rushes the glowing structure, burning all his mana. He swears he won't log off until he conquers every single floor of that energy fortress. Blade clashes against the divine tower doors, spamming flashbang effects everywhere. The relentless DPS creates instant cracks in the core artifact's energy shield. The entire structure starts rubber, banding violently under the kid's endless combo. The synchronized raid on their power cores pushes his teammates to their absolute limit. Finally, the defensive barrier can't tank the pressure and completely shatters. The system pop-up confirms that hacking into the deepest training levels was an absolute win. The shockwave of the limit break hits the fox like a truck in the real world. She throws her head back, totally euphoric from the massive stat boost flooding her system. Same goes for Bai Jingjing. She feels this colossal energy surge through every cell in her body. The boss shuts her eyes, struggling to stay grounded while her mana pool drastically expands. Flexing a majestic golden aura, the guy stands up with his HP completely refilled. The system UI flashes brightly, congratulating the user for finally unlocking the mid-tier Demon King rank. Stoked about the night's loot, he checks his drops and realizes the RNG was way better than expected. The kid mutters that he finally has enough DPS to equip his vaulted legendary gear. Even after hitting a crazy milestone, the MC's ambition is still off the charts. He wonders what his next quest should be, since he still needs to unlock a ton of skill tree nodes. Catching her breath in the sheets, Minyang drops a rumor about the Eastern Mountains. She leaks the existence of an ultra-rare survivor from the wiped-out Scorpion clan, instantly pinging his curiosity. Lore has it that this girl carries the bloodline of a seriously cracked warrior from the Dark Ages. The woman has been playing solo for ages, turning her into a highly dangerous and mysterious bounty. Hopping into the chat, the Bone Lady adds that the mob fled with critical HP after taking a major loss from the Celestial faction. Right now, she's camping in a cave trying to passively regain her health. The fox wraps up the intel, stating that some mystery debuff made the survivor's combat power absolutely tank. Flashing an edgy smile, she asks if the master wants to exploit the glitch and capture her. Throwing her gear back on, Bai Jingjing flames her teammate for pitching such a trash idea. She warns the guy that the clan's poison is an instant game over, and heading over there would be a massive throw. Totally ignoring the warning, our MC summons a glowing mystic gourd right into his hand. He flashes a wildly hyped grin, declaring that the enemy's debuff is literally the perfect exploit. An ancient golden scroll floats right in front of the squad, lighting up the whole room. Both leaders are totally mesmerized to find out the kid has also maxed out his medic skill tree. Breaking down the strat, he explains the warrior hates the celestial mods just as much as they do. The game plan is to go undercover as a healer and crowd, control her while her stats are still rock bottom. Geared up for the raid, the guy turns his back and announces he's logging off. Right then, the cave owner interrupts, asking him to make one simple promise before he hits the road. Freezing in his tracks, the MC turns his head, waiting for her request. She sighs, practically begging him not to bring the Scorpion girl back to base, claiming they literally don't have enough server space for more players. Laughing at the complaint, the young guy flashes a reassuring smile. He promises the new teammate will just be used as a tactical combat pet, and he's not going to cross the streams. But the second he's solo on the trail, the friendly face swaps to a super mischievous vibe. He mutters to himself that the new bringing her to bed policy only applies to tonight's patch. Hiking toward the east, the guy starts theory, crafting the next steps of his playthrough. He plans to raid the zones of ancient queens down the line, fully aware of the insane loot tables hidden there. A random flashback pops up, showing the Scorpion's beastly aunt getting absolutely clapped by some giant rooster entity. He cringes that such a god-tier fighter had to log out in such a pathetic way. Stewing on how toxic the divine heroes are, our MC narrows his eyes with massive grudge energy. He totally calls out the celestial dev team for intentionally griefing that leader to drag out her suffering. Stopping on the dirt path, the guy sarcastically mocks the supposed good guy vibe of the top deities. He concludes that the Celestials just use mobs for farming, and then claim all the clout as heroes. Suddenly, his system's perception alert starts flashing like crazy right in his HUD. The radar picks up hostile mobs closing in, letting the guy know he just pulled some super annoying aggro. Scanning the creepy environment, he maps out the creek and the bushes to ping exactly where the threat is. Hyped with the accuracy of his new tracking hack, the kid gives props to the magic. Chilling under the moonlight, the traveler doesn't show a single ounce of fear at the ambush. Keeping a totally relaxed stance, he raises his voice and demands the campers get out of their hiding spots. In response, a massive squad of fighters jumps out of the shadows, instantly boxing the kid in. The supposed guild leader praises their target's awareness, super curious about how their stealth strat got exposed. Staring down one of the hooded guys, Baisho lets out a massively bored sigh at the lame setup. He compares the squad's energy to the old griefer from the cave, noticing the exact same annoying playstyle. A second attacker steps up, aggressively blocking the path with maximum arrogance. He admits the kid has skills for breaking their illusion, but swears his run ends right here. Dropping a smug laugh, the boss leaks the totally fabricated story they cooked up to cover their tracks. He brags that they'll just blame the Scorpion's poison, giving the squad a clean getaway with zero heat. Finding their excuse actually kinda interesting, our MC unleashes this absurd red aura that lights up the whole forest, with his eyes glowing with pure PvP energy. He warns them they're about to get hit with the most painful reality check of their lives.